through how it only took me 4.5 hours to get to max level with the new level cap in World 0. Hey, Malebians, it is Sister Card here. Hopefully you're having a great day. I'm having a great day. We're back today in World 0 because we're going to be going over how I got through 690 levels and 4 prestiges for the new max level cap for World 0. I want to go through kind of everything I did and some different fine tunings that have been made with recent changes. So if you don't already, please make sure you smash the level like button, do the same subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. Helps me a lot. Let's get right on into it. Now, I previously done this run 2 other times when we had the lower levels. So to save time, I'm going to briefly go over all of the run and then I'm going to kind of explain the big differences. The run as followed. This is kind of the current guide by the community in order to get from basically level 1 all the way back up to max to 150. A lot of this has stayed the same from previous runs, but the big changes is going to be that first one where it's 1 through 39. We're going to be in the Celestial Tower. Now, if you've never done the Celestial Tower, it's basically clearing rooms as you go, and then every 5 rooms you fight a boss. Pretty simple. Now, one thing I will say is that my comment section gave me this help the last time I did the speedrun. It's something I applied with this run, is that every time you start hitting an issue with your damage, switch classes, switch back, it gives you a weapon of that level, and you need to go put the weapon either in storage or you need to delete it. Now, I did make a mistake through our first set of runs, is I did not do this. I did not put it in storage, so I had to do it again during my first prestige, but Now, the rest of the run, we've got 40 through 75. We're going to be hitting up World 3. We're going to be hitting up Winter Dungeon, that final dungeon. From 75 to 94, we're going to be heading on over to Rough Waters, and you're basically just going to be killing the first little group. After that, we're going to the Labyrinth for 95 to 115. After that, for 115 to 120 is Treetop. I didn't actually spend that much time in this area, so I'm just giving y'all a heads up. And then basically 120 to either 135 or 150, depending on if you're doing a rebirth or not. We're going to the Ether Fortress. Now, something some folks may not know is now in order to rebirth, instead of it being 115, you're looking at 135, which means we're looking at 690 levels. Get from starting the game all the way to max level. Now, I did do this entire run on a double XP weekend with an XP booster. Another thing to note, I was also using VIP. Now, previous runs I have used Archer. Unfortunately, during this series of runs, I was not able to. I had to, unfortunately, be using Archmage to start. I moved to Elementalist, and then when I hit level 60 on my first leveling session, I switched over to Archer. For whatever reason, even though I have bought Archer previously with my main account, so I had access to it at any point on my main, it doesn't transfer over to secondary characters on that account. I think that's a little weird, and it definitely did slow up my time. So devs, if you've noticed this, may want to fix that. I don't think that's okay. If I spend 800 Robux, I'd like to be able to use it at any point on the account. Now, to take you through the entire run, some stuff that I hit issues with, I don't really do Celestial Dungeon. Wasn't actually anticipating it. I left during the first part of the run to go back and switch classes to get weapons. Shouldn't have done that. If you are running through this and you're getting 1 through 39, just stay in it until you level all the way up, because you get set back to the start, and I probably would have had some better gear. Another thing I ran into that was a serious problem, especially in the beginning of this run, is that pets. Because pets are now level based and you no longer get a guaranteed legendary, this became a problem because I had to keep pets leveled up and I didn't have a guaranteed legendary, so I really didn't have a good companion pet while I was running around. So that was something definitely a hindrance. If I had kind of prepped this ahead of time and, you know, had a good pet ready to go that was at level 1, maybe this could have been better. Next thing I do want to note on this route, while you're going through, after you've transitioned from basically Celestial Tower to Winter Dungeon, so in that first little section, what I recommend doing, make sure you go to World 2. Now, I did this frequently, is whenever I had jumps in worlds, I would make sure I would go to one of the worlds I was jumping, because you get level up quests. So it's basically free experience that can help you progress along, so you're not having to stay in some of the more difficult parts like Celestial Tower, Winter Dungeon, Rough Water. Those kind of 3 I was able to skip big chunks of grinding in there just because I was going to World 2, and then after I finished with Winter Dungeon, I'd go to World 4 and 5 and claim all of those quests. There also is a quest for when you use the teleporter. Make sure you grab that. Now, I will want to let y'all know all of the other speedruns I've done from World 0, anyway, from doing that ancient one that basically was RNG in order to get to level 75 to my previous one, I will include in this playlist. So if you're curious about some of the other runs I've done, I also have the entire run as an unlisted video in the description. So if you do want to see, you know, verify I actually did it, it is there. So you can kind of see some of the choices I made. You can also see my numerous deaths. It happened a lot, mostly because of armor. Now, like I said, you can leave the dungeons in order to switch out classes in order to get better weapons. Armor is not really necessarily the case. Armor is a reward, and I had armor that was like below level 30, and I had armor that was like above level 100. So there were several points, especially when I was doing rough water, that I had 11,000 hit points of that. So that was definitely a little bit of a hindrance, although it was kind of forcing me to be a little bit smarter with my choices and to constantly keep moving. Archer class did significantly help with this issue, that I wasn't being forced to stay in a combative area. I will let y'all know when you are doing this, you can use Archer class, you can use Summoner. I think actually I will do this again, but I will do it as Summoner just because the community recommends using Summoner Archer, and I'll kind of use the same parameters. I also kind of want to do a run where I'm set up with a pet and with a mount and see if that really makes a difference. I don't think it does, but I do want to see with Summoner, since that is something that is recommended by the community, and see if it's actually faster. Now, one other thing to note with all the dungeons I have mentioned, so the final winter dungeon, rough waters, labyrinth, treetop, and either forest, you are going to need to make sure you do them on challenge mode. That's going to give you a chance for elites. It's going to be a lot higher, and that's kind of what we're looking for with the run. If you've never done it before, you are looking for elites. That gives a ton of experience, even when you're going into Celestial Tower. Once I started hitting elites on certain floors, it made the run so much easier. So I've kind of talked about, and there's been different clips from the run throughout the video. So here is our final time. I will have to say a lot of that was me going to World 10. Once I hit about 30-ish or 40-ish and just starting to rapidly claim my level rewards. And that helped out a lot. Trust me, it's a big jump with levels once you are able to get there. Also, considering I had double XP weekend and a booster going, yeah, I was getting some insane XP. So in comparison to my last run compared to this one, so my last run was 5 hours and 38 minutes. This was just over 4 hours and 30 minutes. So significantly better time, probably due to the fact of the double XP weekend and utilizing the XP booster. In total, with the time for basically maximizing it, what I could have changed, I probably could have shaved off about 20 or so minutes if I had not restarted in the beginning. That kind of killed me. And if I really just hadn't fussed with pets, just getting one in general, just using that first one I would have gotten, should have been fine. I shouldn't have kept fussing with it because honestly, it really didn't make that much of a difference. So that's kind of any of those time saves I always want to talk about. So here is the end result for as far as armor and stuff. So this was one of the pets I had. This was the high-end gear, and then this is the rest of the gear I ended up saving throughout the run. I had a lot of low-level stuff just from doing Celestial Tower, and then we had a few medium bows, and then the armor and the high-tiered stuff that I was using. I will have to say I did not have lag. Lag was not a big issue this time. No disconnects this time. That's another thing I was excited about. My original runs I had disconnects, but didn't really have that issue this time. So I am excited for what World 0 has coming up this year. Apparently there's going to be some new content, so I will keep up to date on that. Maybe doing something with the account. I have not decided yet. I'm doing a little bit more noob to pro, a little bit more speedrun stuff on the channel. I will let y'all know when we get there. But plebs, thank y'all for being here. Hopefully this was informative, and I'll see y'all next time.